This video is about making cyanotype prints, an antique photographic blueprint. First used in 1842, it is still enjoyed today by mixed media artists and art photographers. Prints are exposed in the sun and developed in water. You can print a cyanotype on paper or on fabric. You can make wall hangings or even washable items, as long as when you wash them, you use a cleaning product without phosphates, bleach, or sodium. You will need a glass frame to expose your print and hold the coated paper or fabric in direct contact with the subject material. You can make images using plant matter or other objects. Or you can make actual photographic images. You'll be using, for that, a negative you create with a transparency on your desktop printer. I've made collages or drawings on my computer and created negatives to use to make a cyanotype print. It's a nice way to make multiples of your own artwork. I made a cyanotype book that I called Garden in Blue. I used plants from my own garden. I'll now give you a flip through of that project. It's easy enough to make a cyanotype at home, but it does require a few materials. You'll need your frame for exposing the image, which I'll talk about in a minute, and you'll need a dark room with no direct light. It can be a garage or shed, a closet, or any place you can guarantee very low light. Other than that, you'll need some potassium ferrocyanide. It's not nearly as toxic as it sounds, but it can irritate your eyes and skin, so of course, be very careful when using it. You'll also need some ferric ammonium citrate, which, like the potassium, dissolves in water. Both chemicals can be bought online, either pre-mixed or in their salt form, which will last much longer. You'll need some light-proof bottles to mix up solutions A and B using the chemicals. These must be stored separately. It's handy to have a red or yellow photographer's light bulb to help you see what you're doing in your makeshift darkroom. If you're going to make your own A and B solution with the chemical salts, you have to be able to measure them by weight, so you will need a very accurate postal scale or similar. A small funnel is useful. Surgical style gloves can be bought in bulk, and I suggest you wear them when working with chemicals. A chemist's measuring vial in millimeters is needed to mix up the chemical solutions. You'll need paint brushes to brush the solution on your paper, and you'll need to store your paper in light-proof photographer's sack, which you can buy online or make one out of very thick black plastic. And you'll need a developing tray which you can get at a photographer's supply store, or you can use any plastic tray as long as it's large enough for the paper. And you will need a glass frame to put your paper or fabric into with the negative or objects you will be using. Cut a board and glass to the same size to make this frame. You'll use clips or clamps to hold it together when exposing in the sun. I'm now going to give you the recipes for the A and B solutions you'll be using. These are the two liquids which will combine to create a photosensitive solution to coat your paper and fabric, but they cannot be combined until just before using. They are made and stored separately. My recipe here is for the amount I usually make at a time, enough to coat several sheets of paper. For A, I begin by measuring out 10 grams of the ferric ammonium citrate, which is a green powder. It's helpful to put it onto a small folded piece of paper on the scale. You can then pick up the paper and pour the powder into the funnel or directly into your little brown bottles. Add 50 milliliters of distilled water at room temperature and shake. For solution B, you measure 7 grams of the potassium ferrocyanide, which is the red powder, and add that to the second brown bottle. You add 50 milliliters of distilled water and shake. These solutions can be stored for months. When you're ready to create a cyanotype, you will mix the two solutions together in equal parts in a bowl or jar. Stir together. Paint them onto the paper until you're under your red or yellow light, and try to make a smooth, thin, and even coating. They should be allowed to dry overnight in the dark. In the morning, still in the darkened room, put the prepared papers in your light, safe black sack with wax paper between them. When you're ready to expose your pages, put your object or transparencies on top of the paper with the coated side up. Make tight contact using clips or clamps and hold the glass onto the wooden back. Leave your frame in the full sun for about 20 minutes. After that, take the frame to your sink and take the objects or transparency off. Place the exposed paper in your developing pan and put it under a slowly running water for a minute or two while you rock the tray back and forth. Then drain the water, which will be a kind of yellow-green color. Add fresh water and let the paper soak face down for at least 15 minutes. If your papers don't turn as blue as you might like, you can add a splash of hydrogen peroxide to deepen the color when soaking the paper. Allow your print to dry, and there you'll have it.